Austin and Becca are like, they'll be fine. I mean, yeah. I guess they're going to have sex. Hey y'all, welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm your girl Intisar Eleanor. I am joined by my beautiful husband Joseph Conner. So how you guys been doing? What's up with the what's up? We are back and we are talking all things Married at First Sight. Before we get into it, let's talk about your last gig. Joe had a really big last gig. Just tell us a little bit about it.
So we had quite a weekend. That's why we were MIA once again.
Yeah.
We trying to get better with this consistency. We will be better in the new year in 24. But yeah, so we was away. We did the Emmys this weekend. So we went up to
Who did the
LA.
Emmys?
Oh, so for those of you who follow me, y'all know I have I play in a bunch of different bands, but I recently started my own project with a buddy of mine's out of DC. It's a drum and DJ project. And so we got booked to do the Emmys this past weekend. So that's what Zar's talking about. So we went out to LA and did we actually did two events, did a corporate event Friday, did the Emmys event on Saturday and came back. It was pretty dope.
It was pretty dope. So if you're not following Joe to get the latest on his gigs, his Instagram, his socials are Joe Conner 33 on Instagram and TikTok.
Mm-hmm. On everything. It's
on
same.
everything, yeah. So check him out. It's JC and Mr. V is the name of their group. So we're really proud of them. We're really excited. And, I know I'm going to derail this. So y'all know how we do. We're going to chit-chat for a little bit. But I said this to Joe. Joe to me is like I think I'm a master manifestor, and we always talk about how I'm a witch and everything like that. Uh-huh. But Joe will really think about something and like really create the process from step one and go through from step one all the way through to the end. And I must say, like, if I had something that I would say is like one of my favorite traits of yours, it's that.
Oh.
Because I find it to be the way that you're able to process things like that makes me feel safe. Mm-hmm. Like, and I know sometimes I get on you about whatever I get on you about, but it does make me feel good to know that you have dreams that you have the audacity enough to see through. I appreciate that.
I appreciate hearing that, actually. I do.
I know, because I'm not nice all the time, y'all.
I'm not. And
I am not. I'm a Virgo through and through. I am not nice all the time. So, and I'm very unimpressed.
Yes, with everything.
With everything. And I must say that I was very impressed. Not even the fact that you guys, it was so little about you doing the Emmys and so much more about you knowing. I remember the moment that Joe was like, you know what? I got to pare down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if I want to do this, obviously, and I want it to be lucrative, I have to pare things down and I got to figure out, what's the best way to do this. Mm-hmm. I remember the moment on Catalina Island, which is like years.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
You know what I mean? So to see, and people think it's so easy just to throw something together, but to see what you and Rashawn have been able to do, I couldn't be prouder than seeing these little black boys' joy. You have no idea. They were on like cloud nine the whole weekend. It was hilarious. It was really hilarious. So I just wanted to take a moment to say that about you, babe. I just really think you need to get a little bit of recognition. And for Sean, hey brother out there, y'all need to really get y'all flowers about how y'all were able to do that. And we're manifesting Rock Nation brunches and this and that everything. and that and that and that and that. We want all of it. We want all of it, and we want to say no to this and yes to that. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
I want to say I really appreciate that because, like you said, she's so unimpressed, and I just want to thank you for always supporting me. And not everybody understands the process of taking something from conception to finish. And so sometimes when you can tell somebody your dream and not feel judged about it, you know, sometimes it'll sound crazy. You know what I mean? Some of the things I dreamed about when I was younger that I'm doing now, I think a lot of people thought it was crazy. You know what I mean? Including us being married. So I just appreciate you being a wife that I feel like I can tell any dream to, because everybody doesn't have that. Everybody doesn't have that safe place to where I could say, this is what I'm thinking about doing. And you're like, okay. Even if you don't see it, you know, I still feel supported in it. And I still feel safe enough to go out and try to do it because no one at home is looking at me like I'm crazy. You know what I mean? So
I don't think you're crazy at all. And I think you don't even realize how much of a good track record you have. And it's probably because I don't say it often. But but in truth, I will follow you off a cliff. So if your dream was to go off the cliff, we'd be doing it hand in hand. And that's just really how I feel about it. So thank you, honey. I just want to be a good support system. I really, I see you and I think you're my dreams personified. Like, not, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you achieved something and a dream of mine has been fulfilled. So, yeah, I just wanted to tell you that. You know, I'm feeling a little... I just came up off this birth control, y'all, so it might be that. My hormones might be all over the place. Yeah, okay, that's my truth. I don't know what the hell is going on this show, and I don't know how Emily and Brennan became... It's like watching Big Brother.
I know. It literally is. But didn't somebody on the show say that?
Oh, they did?
Remember we was watching and we was like, are they listening to us? A lot of times we
my goodness.
Somebody else repeat it and we said this.
Who said it? Was the one with the pink hair?
Becca.
Now, let me say this about Becca, since we already talking about her pink hair. I like Becca, right? But you know what I find exhausting? And this is because I really do believe, because I'm a Virgo, I don't like overly positive people. It exhausts me.
And I think you're phrasing it wrong.
Okay, how should I?
Because I don't think she's overly positive.
Okay.
I think she is a bit, she gives a lot of false narratives. She speaks on things she does not know. And to me, that's what I don't like about her. Like, to me, it's a little disingenuous.
Yeah, that's what it comes off as to me.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I don't.
Because I don't mind you being positive.
Right.
And positive overly so. Always singing the bright side of things. I don't mind you being that person. I don't like when you jump in with stuff as if you're not listening to me just to say whatever, you know, cliche tagline that you had ready to launch, right?
1,000%.
So when somebody's talking to her about being in a traumatic relationship with whoever the guy is, and then her response is, "Oh no, he loves you for sure. I know he does."
Or even when she was talking to the girls, and Claire was talking about, we all know that what's his name? Y'all, this is terrible because we're on like episode blah, 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 and I don't know these people's names. And I'm good with names.
Yeah.
Like in real life, I could see you once and see you again 20 years later. And I'm like, hey, Lisa, how you doing? I'm like, I really am that person. So this is a testament to how forgettable. I don't want to say that because I think that's mean. But
true.
That's what I'm saying. Cameron don't give a damn about Claire. And then Claire was trying to like say, oh, well, we're like really stressed out. And he just, you know, he told me that he doesn't want me to be worried. And I don't need to come to the hospital for the surgery. And I don't even understand how that makes sense. Like, and then Emily, or what's her name? Becca was like, oh, well, you know, I understand how important it is to have somebody support you. So you are doing the right thing. I'm like, girl, shut the hell up.
Yeah, like you don't even know what the situation is. Like to say something like that, you're absolutely supporting him in the way you should. Who told you that? Did Cameron tell you that?
Girl, and
who told you that?
Who told you that?
And then even to speak on when she told the other girl, oh, I know he loves you and whoop de whoop. I think she was talking to Emily or
she was talking to Emily.
Even to say that, like you don't even know this man. You don't even know this man to speak on what you think his feelings are. And I get you're just always trying to be the positive person in the room, but it's coming off disingenuous, and it also is very it's negating the actual process and what somebody is actually telling you, the reality of their situation. Like, you can be positive and at the same time listen and hear them and say something positive that's still in the realm of what's actually happening in the world. And she doesn't do that. It's almost like you can say anything and she'll give you whatever answer that's in her head. She's not having a conversation. She's just spitting words at you.
Right. Like, it's not even any like follow-up questions.
No.
You know what I mean?
No probing.
Nothing. And that's just so fascinating to me. And I think that's what makes it disingenuous to me.
Yeah.
Because I know when I'm talking to anybody, all my friends know, like, I'm going to ask you 100 questions. If you're ready to tell the story, I got 1,000 questions for you.
But that's because you're listening.
Yeah.
And it seems to me that Becca doesn't listen. She just jumps in with a cliche. You can say the difference between those conversations is if somebody comes to you and says, you know what, Zar, I just really feel a type of way because I feel like every time I talk to him, he ignores what I'm asking him to do. Your response would be something, well, why do you think that is? Or
what is he doing?
Or what is he doing, right? Her response would be, oh, don't worry about that. You'll be fine. He loves you.
But
what?
Yeah, and I think that's so odd because I think it's so important to... The problem is that these people, because they're overproducing, they're not existing.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes you do have to exist in your funk. And sometimes doing that is unpacking it. So, like, that's why I'm very intentional with the like when I'm having conversations about how people are feeling about things or whatever the case may be. We can talk about the same subject for hours because I'm going to literally drill it. Like, we're going to unpack every bit of it.
Yeah.
So then when you leave this, at least some part of you feels relatively resolved. Like, you know what I mean? It might not be the whole thing, but some part of you is like, okay, this part I can kind of come to grips with.
Yeah, because when you respond like Becca responds, that also feels dismissive of the person's feelings. Like,
that's what I mean.
You're not even hearing what I'm saying to you. Like, I don't want to talk to people like that. You know what I mean? And I think that's what you mean. Because it's not there's nothing wrong with being positive. But being positive is not the same as just lying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't know if this man loves her or not.
Right.
You don't know. You know what I mean? You can say something positive without giving this false hope or just this cliche that doesn't even fit the situation. You can be positive without just making up some BS, you know?
And that's my thing. And that also is the reason why I like Emily. I think that she has a way of being positive that is so genuine, even in her upset. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
And I think, God knows she should win an award for the patience that she has with this man. But I want to get back to Becca and Austin have the 19th conversation about why they're not having sex. And I'm just like, I'm not bored with the conversation. You know what? Let me unpack this right. I like that Austin was honest. This is the first time I feel like he kind of like is like opening up for real. Because I do like that he was honest about the pressure that he feels around having sex.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be honest, y'all. That tells me he's not dicking them down. If you were dicking them down, you would not be worried about no meat on the bone. Okay? Boom, boom, nothing but meat on the bone. You would not be worried.
You know what? I honestly think that Austin is really not that attracted to Becca. And I think that this is an example of somebody who is not attracted being a part of the process. We see it all the time where people come on the show and because they're not attractive, they make up all of these excuses. They miss filming. When they're not filming, they somewhere else. They don't live in the house. And at the core of it, they really just aren't attracted to the person, right? Or they treat the person in a really negative way. And when we talk about, when we say like you can be a part of this process, not be attracted to them, it be okay, and you still be trusting the process. I think that Austin is a bit of an example with that. I don't think he would ever say, I don't find you attractive, but I can tell that it's something there. You know what I mean? What he said, let me say this, what he said did make sense to me.
Yeah.
I think in anything that you're struggling with, whenever there's so much light shined on it, it can almost make it worse.
Yeah.
Right? Every time you go back and you take that math test. If you're struggling at math, the next test is the biggest test. Then the test of that is the biggest test. So instead of just playing, instead of just taking the test, instead of just doing whatever, you're overthinking, right? If I'm having it used to be whenever I had a bad game, when I used to play basketball in high school, whenever I had a bad game, I'm constantly thinking about the little things, not messing up. And when you are thinking about, they say in football, when you're thinking about not getting hurt, that's when you get hurt, right? And so you can apply that to a lot of things. When you're thinking about not falling, you holding a glass of water, you thinking about not dropping the water, you're going to drop the water because you're just not flowing. You're just not doing the things that you know how to do. And I think that there's a little bit of that when he was just like, first of all, I like to give them grace because they're filming. So one thing that Becca said was something about being...
You don't want to talk about your sex life on national television.
Who does?
I appreciate
You know
that.
what I mean?
I appreciate
That's real to me. You know what I mean? So I can understand that. I can understand how we already paying a lot of attention to it just within our own situation. Yes. And now every time we talk about it is a camera in my face with 4 or 5 other people in the room.
1,000%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I understand and I can appreciate what he was saying. I think also people have this misnomer that men just want to bang, bang, bang and hump, hump, hump anything. And the emotionally intelligent ones are not like that, right? So some men, no different from some women, need a connection to find that sexual attraction or to overcome the lack of attraction, right? Yeah. It has to be something else. Like we've all been around that person who we weren't attracted to on the onset, but then we got to know them and it made them more attractive, right? So you got to see here that he don't even really know her like that. He's trying to get to know her more and he's trusting the process, hoping that attraction will grow.
Okay. So I want to pause there though, because y'all know I like to go on my tangents, but you said something that made me think about something else that I was thinking about today. And I was going to do like a little TikTok on it, but since we're here, you could just post this to our TikTok. Yeah. So this woman said that I want women in 2024 to be released from getting used to someone's looks. Does that make sense?
I don't understand. Yeah, go ahead.
Like if you're dating, that you would date somebody who isn't your typical type or you're not typically attracted to. Mm-hmm. And, I was really thinking about that.
She was saying you should date someone
that you're attracted to. Stop dating these men that you're not attracted to, period, right? And somebody in the comments said, because men don't do that, right? And I was like, and the thing I was thinking was, the reason why I brought this up is, the difference is that I think that men don't have the same lists of criteria that women do.
Right. For
attraction. So that's why men don't do it. Like, you know what I mean? They could just say, I want a bad bitch. And that be the only criteria for the woman. That, you know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And they're saying, like, you don't have to, in order to keep a man, get somebody funny looking, go get you somebody on your thing, right? On your level. And the problem with that is numbers. Like, the problem with that is that how many good looking people do y'all even think are in the world?
Not a lot.
Right?
I say this not a lot.
So let's reduce that to how many good-looking black people do you think are in the world?
Yeah.
Right? And then let's reduce that again to how many good-looking black men do you think are in the world? Okay? I'm not saying that there's not a lot. I'm just saying, I'm certain there are. I'm just saying, how many good-looking black men are in the world that are above 6'1"? Because that's a part of y'all criteria, too. Now, couple that with the fact that how many good-looking black men are in the world that make more than the average income? The average income in America, I think, is sitting right now around $75,000 a year. Mm-hmm. I'm not even talking about the tip of 6 figures, which is $100K. I'm talking about $75,000 a year.
Yeah.
How many of these black men got their own place? How many of these good-looking black men got their own car? See, the problem is that's y'all criteria. How many of these good black men be sitting in the church?
The list get long.
It's
no
long.
Kids,
no kids. I didn't even mention kids.
Own their house. Yeah.
Right? So for me, it made me think because he's putting in the work with someone who he isn't attracted to because that's how he feels today. The problem is that y'all reduce all of your attraction to what is physical versus what is serving you. Because how that person looks doesn't serve you, but how that person treats you does.
Yes. It's not enough attention paid to that.
Does that make sense?
1,000%. I think a lot of great people get overlooked because right on the onset, keyword that you said is today. Today, they don't fit the mold visually.
Exactly.
And so these people get overlooked, and then people are sitting here like, well, I don't know why I can't find anybody.
But
you found them. I would argue you found them at some point. Certain people I know for a fact.
I know for a fact you did. And I think that the argument is that then you get with these funny looking men, which I've experienced this, and then they start acting like the cute me because y'all together. You know what I mean? So I'm not even gonna pretend like I have not experienced it. I have. I feel what you're saying, sis. But the truth is, and I'm speaking from a place of privilege, my husband will probably be, well, not probably be, he's probably, for most people, on the other side of the medium ugly scale, right? So it's like, so for me, but I do believe that y'all be thinking about the wrong things. And that's what I'm saying, that Austin is a really good example of how just putting in the work and watering something, you water anything, I say this all the time, and it will grow.
1,000%. I think if you, especially in something like this where you have a certain amount of weeks.
Yes.
So this is even more, I mean, it's set in stone. You know how far you have to go in order to really give 100% to this process. And so for this, it should be even easier for y'all because there's a destination. You know, decision day is February 24th or whatever. I just need to trust the experts, trust the process, lean into my spouse, do this, do that. And then we'll see where we are in decision day. If he gets to decision day and decides I want to leave, I don't think nobody can be mad at him. You know what I'm saying? Because he was a part of the process. You know what I mean? He wasn't those, you know what I mean? He wasn't those people who come on here, they BS, they partner, they go MIA, they treat them bad, all because they really just wasn't attracted to it. And we've seen it 1,000 times. Alyssa, Jasmine, we've seen this. I mean, we can run down the list of past seasons of people who were in a similar predicament, we think, as Austin, who did not treat the situation well and didn't make the most of it. I think he's making the most of it, even in the effort that you see him doing with the rose petals. And
I love that.
You know what I mean? That's him trying to push the envelope. Like, I'm gonna make, because I think he likes her, but I do think you're not attracted to everybody that you like. And I think that's
also gotta be like, where do all these good looking people come from, y'all? I walk the streets every day. I really don't, but I do. Where are all these good looking people? I really think when we walk into, and this is sounds so vain, oftentimes when me and Joe walk into the room, we're the good looking people in the room.
I'm not even gonna act like that's not.
You know what I mean?
But honestly, you know what I think?
What?
They online. People are in this false reality where because they can scroll and see these people.
Oh my goodness.
You think you have access to these people.
That's exactly it.
And you can just find another one by swiping left or swapping right or hopping in somebody's DMs. So I think the social media sphere has really warped a lot of people's views on relationships and options. And a lot of y'all think that y'all have way more options than y'all actually have just because of the internet.
Joe, that is it and that is all. Y'all think y'all have more options than y'all actually have. And that's just it. And that is all. And that's not saying stick with somebody who's going to treat you like nobody's saying that. We're just saying y'all will be with somebody, man, woman, and goat, and see somebody else just scrolling or somebody else dating somebody who got this or got that. Let me tell you something. You can't get with nobody and not have to compromise something, right? And that's what I think the weirdest part, and I know we're on a tangent a little bit, but that's what I think the weirdest part about the statement was, right? If I had to compromise anything in my spouse, it would be looks. Because that's the easy part.
Right.
Everything else requires you to have a monicum of character. Yeah. So a monicum of honesty, a monicum of loyalty. So if I know that I had to sacrifice something, It could be your finances. It could be, whether or not he a provider, whether or not this, it would be his goddamn looks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, what world? Did y'all not hear Michelle Obama say, who told y'all can have it all? You can't have nothing 100%.
I mean, and that's the ultimate messenger. I don't know who else you want to hear it from.
You cannot have any. They will give you a check. You'll hit the lottery. They'll give you a check and snatch 40% from you. Why? Because you can't have nothing 100%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like the mental, the people will have you out here thinking you do. And that's why Sherry 7, you don't know who this is. That's why she's important, because she lets you know that you have to figure out what you want. And I'm speaking directly to women, because once you figure out what exactly you want, you can actually go for that. The problem is y'all don't even know what the hell y'all want, because what y'all want is based on what Shanika want, Tammy want, Kendra. How y'all all want? How do y'all all have the same criteria for a man?
Yeah.
How? Y'all don't think that's weird?
It gotta be. It has to be weird. When you think about it, I just think people are not really thinking about it, but you're right. Like when you hear these people rattle off their list, a lot of these lists is the same.
Joe, I talk to women all the time. It's the same list. It is the same list. It's quite creepy. And a lot of y'all need to, and I mean this with respect, because one thing I'm going to do is hold my sisters down. You know what I mean? We here with it. Y'all got to go and touch grass. Because it's like, for me, and I'm speaking from a space of, I grew up, not to age myself, I don't think I am right now, but I grew up in a space where men would just talk to you in the street. Mm-hmm. And so life is different now, and I recognize that. I really didn't do a lot of online dating or anything like that at all, to be honest. Very minimal. And I think that because I didn't, I have a much different perspective on meeting people and chemistry and connection and compatibility. My definition for those, I find, are much different from those of people who are vetting people in real time and then making the decision whether or not there's something that builds character. I feel like when you just meet somebody and you have this spark.
I agree. And I think the keyword that you used was vetting people. I think it's a lot of interviewing for jobs happening. Especially, I find this in older women. It's a lot of interviewing. We watch just from the shows that we watch. You know, like we know a few older women that are in the dating space, but I see the majority a lot on these shows, like the
Ready to Love,
like the Ready to Love, which we're gonna hop back on because they got an episode out. Like the Ready to Love and stuff. Like the wrong approach is to sit down and run down your list. Do you have kids? Do you have a job? Where do you live? Do you own your house? And it's like y'all can get to these big topics, but you're not gonna build connection from sitting down and interviewing somebody. Right. And I think a lot of y'all is just trying to go through candidates because you feel like I ain't got time. Nobody got time. You don't got time to date them.
And your list is obviously not working. So whatever the compatibility that you are looking for, spell it. Yeah. Spell it. Like, you know what I mean? I think that there's something lost on working for, even with us, we're not always connected. I mean, we were always connected. We were not always compatible. Mm-hmm. So, like, we had times, and even in your marriage, you'll have ebbs and flows. You'll get a new marriage just about every year. You get a new, you know what I mean? Like, it'll be brand new for you, whatever it look like. But even in times where we were not together, or we were exploring different things, we weren't compatible. So it felt like, even sometimes for us, like a fight, even to talk to each other, or it was always tumultuous. Until we were. Everything was in line. You know what I mean?
And I think that the difference is with a lot of people, like you said, is connection and compatibility. Like we was talking a while ago in the other video about how people get that wrong. People confuse the two because like the guy said in the video, you're going to be compatible with a lot of people.
Yeah.
You're not going to have connection with a lot of people. And so with him saying the connection part of it is that thing that you'll have anybody can relate to this because I believe that most all of us have that connection with a friend or a family member. May not be romantic romantically. But when he says that connection is that thing where you might not talk to this person for 6 months, and then you talk to them and it's like y'all was just busting it up all week. That's a different type of connection. And I think people forget about that aspect of it when they're trying to date and find their mate. They're only thinking about the compatibility aspect of it. And then you're picking people based off compatibility, and then you realize, oh, we don't have any connection. That's what we see on this show.
Right.
We see a lot of people who are paired together because of compatibility, because that's all the experts have to go on. The connection part is the human part. Right. And a lot of y'all are not interested in the human part because y'all so busy trying to fill your checklist.
Yes.
Which is a social media thing now. Is we can't go to that Cheesecake Factory. Mm-hmm. We can't do this.
The guy wore sneakers, but we'll.
Oh man,
that blew me. But I think that's what you're saying. Like it's like this whole thing, and I think sometimes it's rooted in the fact that we don't know what love looks like. Right? All of us just know how it feels, or some of us don't know how it feels, right? So we'll lean on someone else's perspective to draw that picture for us. And in truth, that's the problem with social media, because love is in the imagination, how you create it. Like, you know what I mean? So you can't look to someone, and this is a social media moment, right? But in truth, I'm telling you, you can't look to someone to define what love is going to look like for you. And the problem is that a lot of us, specifically women, don't understand it has to be about you and what is serving you. And I promise you, find somebody who loves on you wholly, holy, whether he big, fat, ugly, small, whatever, he's the one. Like, you know what I mean? You're not going to get that. I don't know who told you you're going to constantly get these people. You're not. And some people will get multiple characters and have multiple loves. I do believe that. But in truth, what is forever is just that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So back to the mother jumpers who are not going to last forever. Let's talk about how Cameron said, I would rather die than to see you show up at the hospital to support me. In the way, I don't even believe, he literally said, I don't see any reason to engage Claire at this time.
Yeah, that was it. Like, he was very nice about it, very straightforward. I don't see a reason to contact her. I'm just going to go get this surgery done.
I would rather die than ever speak to you again. Okay?
Yeah, this is another situation of, like, I guess the experts thought that they were compatible and they have nothing, no chemistry, no connection.
Nothing.
And he's really just trying to separate this whole situation in a very nice way, put a very nice bow on it, and just move on down to the part of him having to go to the hospital. Because I think he also believes that she's stressing him out to the point where she damn near put him in the hospital.
Now, do you believe that he already had this issue?
I think it's possible that he did, and that this exacerbated the issue.
Okay,
because
I felt like it kind of came out of, not that it wouldn't come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I'm no doctor, so it ain't like I know, but I felt blindsided by it.
Because I think it can be a triggering thing. Like, I think that, you know, I was just talking to my mom about something that she was dealing with that landed her in the hospital. Yeah. And when she got out, they told her they think it was stress. You know what I mean? She landed in the ER because of that. And it made sense because her brother just died. So all of these things that's happening around her triggered this event that landed her in the ER. So I do think that it's possible it could have been an underlying thing, and this stressful situation of the show and her and everything else could have triggered it. I believe that, because I believe he genuinely came on here to find love and to be a part of this process. The
more he pays her dust, the more it's very clear to me.
Yeah.
That he feel like, you wasted my goddamn time. You can go and kick rocks. He said, I don't see any reason to engage her. And she's sitting up on the roof talking about, oh, well, he told me because I worry too much. Let me tell you something. If you're under the impression Joe will be, and I got to stop comparing us. I have to stop doing that. But in truth.
But, I mean.
let me tell you.
I don't know no couple that's like,
Joe could go anywhere. We're Velcro.
Period.
I'm going too. I mean, anywhere. And that just means anywhere. I don't go to I literally ask my husband to drop me off at the nail salon. He takes me to get coffee every day. Anything I want to do outside the house, I'm like, where's my husband? Like, we're going together. So for me, it's like, girl, he don't give a damn about you. If you don't want to even be this is the second time he been in the hospital and you ain't been there, sis.
Right.
Stop trying to pretend like it's a matter of like, oh, well, he's just trying to spare me and he knows I worry too much.
Yeah,
what?
That ain't it.
Worry too much, girl. All I do is worry. I be up in the middle of the night, eyes open. I be looking him dead in his face. He be sleeping.
Yeah.
Because I'm worried. Like, that matters not. That don't mean you don't have a responsibility to be there and show up for somebody who's your spouse.
Yeah.
But that's not her spouse.
That's not her spouse. And he's not even trying to.
And he ain't even fighting it.
Nah, he's not fighting it. And I think he's trying to let go of this process and her.
Quite literally. Unlike Michael, who refuses to let go of this process. You like that, didn't you?
Yes.
Let me tell you something. You're absolutely first of all, he had to invite the cast because his family said, I'm not coming for number 2.
Yeah.
3 weeks later.
How about that? Like, we see these weddings. Y'all only get 10 spots.
You only do.
I mean, it's 5 chairs on one side and 5 on the other. And you inviting the cast, so that I'm curious about that because that's a little weird to me. Mm-hmm. But also, y'all know how I feel about this. I don't think that they deserve another chance. They being the producers and the experts in the show, I don't think they deserve another chance after they fixed him the first time.
Yeah.
And then they went and got this woman who we're gonna withhold judgment. We don't know.
We are very good.
We don't know
very
what she is or will be yet from the onset. I don't think he's going to be too into it. I'll just say that. I don't think he's going to be too into it.
She looks tall.
She looks tall, and
not that
she
matters.
Doesn't look like.
Not that matters. I'm just saying she just looks tall.
She also doesn't look like she would be with him. Like she doesn't. I can't see him.
She gives me a little eclectic. Didn't she have on like a funny pair of earrings?
I don't even know what this.
I don't.
No, not a funny. What does that even mean?
I don't even know. I just be saying stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I can't see them together in any world. But we'll see.
But don't fix him and give him the same exact wedding that he had. Now he getting deja vu and everything like that. That shit is weird.
That's weird. He got to get married in the same place.
I think y'all weird for doing it.
That's why wouldn't you switch it up? Take him to one of the other couples' venues or something like that. Right. Y'all would take him back to the same place.
I think that's
He
weird.
Gonna get dressed in the same room. Have the ceremony in the same room.
Re-traumatizing him.
It is. It's weird.
So now he can't even disassociate the moment from the trauma because they happened in the same spot. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's weird as hell.
The same mark that he stood in when the woman did not come down.
Do y'all think when Carrie had pig's blood thrown on her at prom that she would come back to prom in 3 weeks? No, she was traumatized.
Yeah,
no, she wouldn't. And I very much aged myself with that movie version.
Yes.
But
I don't get it.
I just don't get it. Like, I don't get it. Even though Carrie did air the mother jumpers out, she can't return to the scene of the crime. So there's that. Emily is really my girlfriend. Emily, if you're out there, girl, even the way you respond to the other girls, it's very. First of all, what's clear to me is that they don't even really vibe with Claire. I do not care what nobody say.
I would agree with that.
Something about it don't seem like we rocking with each other.
Yeah. I would agree with that. It's just, it seems a little forced when they are, but they got to film together. So I just chalk it up to that.
And I kind of feel like sometimes that Claire wants Emily and Brennan's relationship to be worse than what it is. And this is my brain at work, y'all. This is not true. This is just how I've unfolded my fictional story in my brain. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Claire is attracted to Brennan. And I feel like she like is lying awake at night wishing that she was married.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean,
that's what's going on in my fictional brain. What's going on in yours?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I just think that Emily should have left this process. I give her kudos for sticking just like I said with Austin, I give her kudos for sticking through the process and trusting it. But I think that she's well within her rights to be like, this is BS. I think that now she even gave us a window into what's happening behind the scenes. Oh. So it's clear that she sees that as BS and how he's producing that. We talked about it. This is another thing we talked about weeks ago. They finally brought out on air that he's producing. So he only wants certain conversations to be on air. That's why he don't have nothing to say when they're doing these activities and when they're in therapy.
Right.
Who goes to counseling and expects not to talk about anything?
Right.
What adult?
Or only talk about the positive things. The truth of the matter is, I go not to talk about the positive things.
We can do that on our own. We don't need help doing that. Look at us. So we did good last week. We went to the mall.
I'm going to talk about the shit that's bothering me.
I don't. Why would you go to the mechanic if there's nothing wrong with your car?
Right. Right.
Like, are you an idiot? That doesn't make sense. I thought we were just not going to talk about the past and we were just going to talk about how good we're doing.
What?
That just doesn't make sense. But that's
because we had one good day.
And then, I think that Dr. Pia is taking on a lot, and I understand that we only see snippets of their conversation. But the one thing I didn't like that I think she let go was when he gaslighted her into believing that she broke some type of trust.
Right.
That was.
It was almost because it's almost abusive that he
was absolutely.
I hate to use that. That's a big word, but for lack of a better word,
it was so trashy and such a weak attempt. And I didn't like that they kind of mulled over it, because when she was trying to figure out what the hell he was talking about, he's like, well, you broke my trust because we said we weren't going to talk about this. So now my trust is broken. Y'all in therapy. Like, she got asked a question about the counselor, and then she answered it. And now you calling her untrustworthy. That's BS. That's not a legitimate gripe. And I think that she just kind of let him do that because I get it. It was so much BS happening.
Yes.
So I understand that it's probably hard to reel it all in and we're not going to see the whole conversation. But I didn't like that. And I just think that Emily deserves better. I've never seen a woman hold her tongue so much. Ever in my life?
Ever in my life. She biting that tongue so hard, it must be bleeding. Okay? Because that baby don't be saying no. She be like, mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But that is a symptom of, I believe, her father. She talks about how her dad was really hard on her when she was a child, and how, you know what I mean? He really thought she was really good at soccer, so he made her like, she was so into it in her youth and everything like that. But she realized sometimes she felt like, dag, like, let up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to do something else, or I want to try something else. And he didn't see that for her. Mm-hmm. And I think that her ability to just shut up is born from that.
Yeah.
And that's just, I hate to say just shut up, but you know what I mean? Like, not just to be like, go ahead, bull, whatever.
It got to be deep rooted, because I think she let him get.
Because that's a muscle.
She let him get away with a lot. And I'm glad that Dr. P has started to bring a little bit of it out when she was just like, I don't believe what you're saying, pretty much. Like, you're just going along and saying whatever he's saying. And then when you open the window to how you really feel, it's completely different. She's saying, I feel that this is happening. He's saying something completely different. And then sometimes she goes along with it and sometimes she tells the truth. And then when she sits in the confessional and tells us the real, I think Brennan is a different way on camera than he is off camera. And he doesn't want to talk about things because he wants to protect his image. Right. That's what we've been saying.
Right. We've been saying it. And the thing is, they didn't even go into that.
They didn't even get into that. That's what I mean. I'm like, it's a lot of stuff falling through the cracks in these conversations that I feel like really needs to be driven home. And I think that she just constantly puts up with a lot of BS. Even in these sessions, it seems like a lot of stuff just gets kind of brushed under the table. Even though they're trying to handle stuff, but because he's like blocking everything, it's like, I get that it's hard to try to get to everything, but it just seems like it's a lot of BS that's just being allowed to fly. And I don't like that.
And the truth is, Brennan needed his own therapy session. Right. She don't even need to be there, right? Because if y'all already know that he's coming in here, it's funny. I was talking to my girlfriend over the weekend. I want to say her name, but I'm not, because her and I were having a conversation about therapy. And she said, I would like to do couples therapy. She's probably going to watch this and know this about her. I would like to go to couples therapy, but I think that my husband would think he is smarter than the therapist and then try to outsmart the therapist. And that's what Brennan does. He thinks he's smarter than her so that he can kind of create the scenario. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Pia is going to be Jedi mind tricked.
Yeah.
And to just, let's talk about what's positive. How great was this? When she told him, well, you didn't do the exercise. He was like, well, we did the exercise. She was like, no, you didn't do the exercise. That wasn't the exercise. This was.
Hugging more was never the exercise, but you knew that.
You don't like Emily so much, this cute girl so much, that you won't even touch her.
Yeah.
Something just does not feel right.
But this is what I mean. This is an example of somebody who is clearly just not attracted to them and is doing a piss poor job, even though he's trying to produce.
The problem, I think it's deeper than a non-attraction. Like,
I think it is deeper, but I think it definitely has. I think it definitely got a lot to do with it. I think from the very beginning, the way he was treating her tells me that there was a lack of attraction there. That he was.
But I feel like it's something more
sinister. He wouldn't
sinister.
even say it. She asked him, "Are you attracted to me?"
Right.
I'm not going to do that to you. That's an answer.
But so hear me out. In my fictional brain, in the book I'm writing that is fiction about this show, I feel like Brennan has somebody else. I feel like he won't even tell Emily that she's good looking or not for fear that the person that is watching is going to take offense.
I think there's so many scenarios that I think we can go down. I think that, like you said, we don't know. That's a.
But that's my fictional story, guys.
We don't know.
It's fiction.
Yeah, we don't know. But I think from what I'm seeing, he's obviously not attracted to her. Like, he won't even answer her questions. He don't want to touch her. They gotta rehearse and
it's like Emily. Emily.
So I just think that that's a big part of it. That he also has tried to pull the wool over her eyes and Dr. Pia when they talk about it. I'm not going to do this in front of her. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to.
Like, he's the good guy. You're a terrible human. And even his friend knows he's a terrible human. His friend was
getting with him though.
Read him for filth. Like, literally, like, you could try.
Yeah.
trying. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because his friend made a good point when he said a lot of times you say that things are going to be this way. And it's funny because I say this to you a lot just about random stuff. When you go into things saying it's going to be this way, you can't. Then at that point, it's this way. You're mentally going to hold on to it. And then you've already lost. If you're going into a game saying I lost the game, you lost the game. Right. So his friend is like, you're going into this saying we don't have chemistry and we don't have attraction. We don't have this. And so you're just checked out and resigned to the fact that I made the statement in my head. Therefore, the statement is true in perpetuity, which is not real life. You cannot do that. Words have power. And so I think maybe you have gone through a rough time. But if you're trying, like Austin, there's a chance that thing can turn around. That attraction or that lack of chemistry or whatever will turn around if you trust the process and try. And I think that he's literally the opposite. He's the anti-Austin. He's literally the opposite.
And I think it's only because he doesn't believe he can control her. And that's my truth. And I think his mother was controlled. And I think that that's how he sees life and love. That young woman sat up there and told him how she felt about her father coaching her and how it bothered her and all these things. And all he could say was, oh, well, don't you think it's a good thing that you had somebody push you like that? Like,
yeah,
as if I needed.
I wish I had that. That's crazy. That's a crazy thing to say in a moment of vulnerability with your spouse.
But it's indicative of who you are and how you think love is supposed to be shown, and that is through control. Mm-hmm. And because I think she's done even a morsel of work on herself, she can't be controlled. You know what I mean?
I honestly think he does have a some type of measure of control over her.
No, I think she respects him. And I think sometimes, I don't even think it's respect. I think we dealt with this. There was a time where I would not talk to Joe about anything. And that was primarily because I could not gauge how he was going to receive what I told him. So because I couldn't gauge it, I just was like, fuck it. I'll just deal with it internally. And then I'll figure out when I decide I'm okay, I'll move on from it. And that's what I think she's doing. I think that she is not saying anything. I think that she would absolutely, just based on how she shows up in therapy, tells me that she would communicate.
I think that that's very different from somebody who, it comes across like battered women syndrome to me, but it's also a form of control. And I'm saying that I think that these two things are very different, because I can tell that even when she's sitting in his face, or she's sitting in front of a professional like Dr. P or Pastor Cal or whoever, whatever it is that they have talked about previously, even though we all know it's complete BS, she will go along with it in that moment when it's just them, when it's somebody else. I think that there is already manipulation that has gone on between the two of them, to where she will not say it in front of Pastor Cal or Dr. Pia. She will not say it when it's just them. When we see them by themselves talking to each other, she's not saying stuff. To me, he already controls her a bit.
And I don't disagree with that. I do think for her, being silent or making herself small is easier. And that's unfortunate to me. You know what I mean? Because I see her as very big and bright. So I think that that's what's,
I see a lot of manipulation. I just see.
Well, that's what it is. I don't think you're, I didn't say, yeah, that's what it is. I see a lot of
manipulation. I see a lot of control. I don't think that she is in as much control as she believes she is.
When you are in a space where you feel like you cannot talk to the person that you are with, and you feel like you almost walking on eggshells on every topic you have, there is something to the only control I have is my silence.
No, I agree.
So I think she does, but she is in control of her silence. And the truth is, she has been manipulated into this space where she's like, don't say nothing to me or I'm gonna snap on you. So now that's the manipulation, and she has to be silent. I do think you're right. I do think she's being manipulated, and I do think what she thinks is control, her own self-control, is him controlling the situation. And I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, I think he's definitely controlling the situation. I think they have these conversations off camera.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that she's very much so manipulated in those conversations. I think that even to agree to not bring something up to an expert or a counselor or somebody who's there to help you, to me, it's crazy. That's crazy control.
It is crazy. And it's the A word.
What's the A word? Oh, that to me is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, even to agree for somebody who's going through something, to know that they have help right in front of them.
And don't you dare say
that,
something.
To me, that's tantamount to watching. We've been watching the thing about the girl Gypsy, right?
Gypsy Rose.
And so one of the things, Gypsy Rose, and one of the crazy parts about her story is how she would be in front of somebody who can easily pull her out of this thing. All she had to do, it was 3 of them.
Yeah.
And all she had to do was say, help me, right? Or say the truth. Somebody's like, Gypsy, are you okay? And the control that her mother had over her wouldn't even allow her to open her mouth to say, you know what? I need help. I'm doing this. I'm being abused, whatever. And I think I see that, not obviously not to that extent, but just the example of the control. Like, I think that there's already so much control happening that I think that even the autonomy that she has is a false sense of autonomy.
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. So it's really fascinating to watch, and it's just even more fascinating to see them try and contort themselves into pretzels to like trip Dr. Pia up. It's just like, bruh, like it's almost insulting that you would think that you are smarter than this woman who put all this work into become a doctor.
Yeah.
And you think that you got the answer, Sway. It's really fascinating.
Because he's not challenged on any of these things. Like you said, we've never been in a space where we can't sit down and challenge each other on our thoughts or ideas. That's why Dr. Pia asked him, when you talk to your friends, are you challenged at all? He's never, when him and Emily talk, she's not challenging any of his, okay. Well, let's not tell Dr. Pia what's going on this week. Okay. That's crazy to me.
But y'all had one good day where y'all played soccer and she beat him, which I was proud of her for beating him, because don't dim your light, babe. Sometimes, but not this time, okay? Don't dim your light. And I thought that y'all had one good day and now y'all good. I thought everything was good.
Which we know that they don't believe that.
Like,
this is for he is fully resigned that this is for the cameras, and so is she. She finally said it. Like, we're only doing this for the cameras. We're only doing this so he looks better on camera.
Right. Which I'm glad she said it.
I'm glad she said it too, because it only took her 10 weeks.
But don't blame that on her.
You know why? Because it's frustrating, because we all can see you lying.
Don't blame that on her.
But that's the control part. That's what I'm saying. We all can see you lying. But she'll sit in front of the camera with nobody there and lie.
But we we cannot be more mad at the manipulated than we are the manipulator.
I'm not mad at her. I'm saying it's frustrating. It's frustrating to watch.
I'm not nearly as frustrated I'm frustrated that she has to go through this. I'm frustrated that she
absolutely it's frustrating.
doesn't have a spouse.
It is frustrating to watch, because we sitting here watching the BS happen. So I know a lot of people screaming at the screen like, "Girl, just tell the truth."
But I feel like when she was in front of Dr. P, she answered every question.
Right, today. But it's been weeks of that's not true.
I don't have nothing else to say, because nothing else happened. We kind of did the whole thing more than we probably should have.
Yeah, it wasn't much. I mean, the whole, it's almost like the whole show is centered around Brendan and Emily at this point.
Because they're the only real couple on this joint. Yeah. Austin and Becca are like, they'll be fine. I mean, yeah. I guess they're going to have sex, so there's
we'll see. Which I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't happen.
He might have took a Hims.
Who knows? But they got an expiration date as well. I think that they're trying. So I'm not gonna. They definitely on a higher tier than Brendan and Emily, and obviously everybody else. They
the only people left for real.
Because and I just think that's just off the strength that they are just committed to the process, and they trying. And I'm gonna give them their flowers for that. I don't think they're gonna make it by any means.
All right, well, he's done. Thank y'all so much for watching. Let us know what you guys are thinking. What are your thoughts? Anything. We want to talk. We want to chit chat with y'all. We love when you guys comment. So bust down. Comment on this video. Subscribe to the channel. Like, share. And follow my husband at JoeConner33. Okay? Give him some love. And we'll see you beautiful mother jumps later.
Peace.